What is up, my friends? How are we? You're very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, where as always, we're speculating, we're wondering, we're sort of guessing, but we're trying to figure out what Liverpool's transfer activity may well look like. Diogo Jota's been dropping some hints, the media have reacted to them, so we're going to go through it tonight and ask how soon or how realistic is it that we will see an offer go in for Joao Neves? We're going to be talking about Frimpong and what might be possible there. We know he has a release clause of €40 million. But the big question is, do Liverpool need Jeremy Frimpong? Well, there's one way we might need him, but it's not a palatable one, and it's not one that one of us or any of us will want to happen. So we'll go through all of that. We'll be talking about the massive shed load of money that was turned down by Alisson Becker to stay with Liverpool and not go to Saudi, and a few other bits and pieces along the way. Glad you guys are in with us. Hope you're all in fine fettle this evening. So let's play a game. Has anybody found a journalist who actually knows what's going on? And what I mean by that is, I spent the last few days seeing loads of credible journalists say who we're not interested in and who the club are briefing them aren't on the list. But who is? Nobody seems to know. So, is journalism dead? Are the club really good at keeping these things quiet? Or have these lads been spoofing their way through? I've been thinking about that quite a bit over the last few days. So I've never claimed to be a journalist. I definitely don't have any credentials to say as such, but loads of people are, just telling us who we're not interested in. Put your neck on the line. Tell us who we are interested in, or stop looking for the clicks. I guess you could say the same about us, right? But we're a fan channel. We have every right to be dreaming. Arne Slot is on holiday in Ibiza. No, I'm not. I'm here. Oh, by the way, if you're on TikTok, feel free to play our wonderful game that Ben designed called Where's Arne? Where's Arne Slot? Go on our TikTok account and you'll see there's a cool image of loads of pictures of my bald head and one hidden Arne Slot in there. So again, that link tree at the top of the live chat there, that doesn't just give you the tickets for the live shows, it also gives you all of our socials. So if you want to give Anfield Agenda a follow on TikTok and play our Where's Arne, go and click on that and go across and let us know how quick you find them. I'll be honest with you, Ben sent it to me this morning, it took me 2 goes. And it's my head everywhere. It still took me 2 goes to find Arne Slot. I saw Craig and I couldn't find him. See? And I'm glad it's not just me. I sent it to Chris Stonage as well. And Chris messaged me back going, I'm embarrassed to say it took me 3 attempts. I said, Chris, don't worry, man. It took me 2 and it's my face all over it. Right, I think Anfield Index are good personally. Sorry if you haven't answered the question, but good. I don't know what the question was. George, I'm trying to find out what the question was. On Anfield Index, yes, they are good. I said to you guys before, I started my my content journey doing podcasts and writing articles with Anfield Index way back about 6 or 7 years ago. So absolutely nothing but love for the folks at Anfield Index, Nina, Gags and the crew. Right, what else have we got? Let's go through. What do you want me to start off with tonight? Because as I mentioned at the start, we're going to be going through Frimpong. We're going to be speaking a little bit about Joao Neves, look, there's loads of stories to say that Liverpool are interested in Joao Neves today. I don't know how serious I am, but one thing I will say to you is Manchester United have been reportedly trying to get this kid as well, and they had a £51 million offer turned down. Now, when his release clause or when his fee is rumoured to be about €100 million, I'm not surprised the £51 million offer from United was turned down, but we'll go through that again. Right, cool. Sorry, I'm just going through my notes. Who is Joao Neves? So he's a young Portuguese defensive midfielder, plays for Benfica, and has been spoken about quite a bit in recent times. Now, I haven't really mentioned him too much because I didn't see a world where Liverpool would pay the money. But according to a lot of accounts and media today, well, we are sniffing around trying to see if a deal can be done. So we'll discuss it tonight and ask you guys as always what you think. Gonna start off with a little bit of a rumour mill that was doing the rounds. So Florian Plettenberg posted earlier on to say that rumours have been going around for quite a while that Jurgen Klopp will become the new football boss of Red Bull, like over all of the Red Bull clubs. He said he spoke to Klopp's agent and he was told it's total nonsense and there's nothing to it. So I just want to clear that up because a lot of people were kind of wondering, ironically, I think it would be a job that he'd be very suited to. We know Liverpool are certainly fond of the Red Bull operating system, if you want to call it that, or the structure at Red Bull. You've seen Pep Linders go and become coach at Red Bull Salzburg. So, yeah, it wouldn't have surprised me if that was a job Jurgen was interested in down the line. But as of now, anyway, it's been rebuffed as just nonsense, according to Klopp's agent. Would be a worldy signing for now and for the future. Yes, still a teenager. So, look, let's get straight into it. Let's get straight into it tonight and start talking about Joao Neves. So, first time I seen this today, it was linked to CM Jornal, who are a Portuguese publication, and they said Liverpool have identified Benfica defensive midfielder Joao Neves as a priority target. It is expected that the Reds will come forward in the coming days with a proposal for the Portuguese side. Now, you start thinking, is this just, Portuguese journalists kind of stoke up the story, get interest in the player, and it could well be the case. But when you add that into the fact that the likes of Diogo Jota have been speaking about the kid and saying that he's a really good player and saying that, he's got a great future ahead of him. Another piece that came out said that the battle to sign Joao Neves is heating up between Liverpool, Manchester United and other European clubs. Again, they speak about the fact that United had a £51 million offer rejected for the player, which I'm not surprised about. Like, it is nowhere near the valuation Benfica have put on him. This says, according to the latest reports in Portugal, Arne Slot and Liverpool have identified the teenage talent as an important target for the 2024-25 season and are set to thunder into the race with a bid of their own. The offer will arrive in the next few days, meaning it is likely to emerge before the end of the week. It is not yet known how much Liverpool are willing to pay for the Portuguese star, but they will have to bid far more than the £51 million Manchester United bid that was laughed off. So, I'm going to do my usual here and say, I know of Joao Neves, but I don't know how good Joao Neves is. So, football hipsters out there and the people who watch much more Portuguese football than I, how good is he? Because there's a lot about this that makes me feel, okay, maybe this is possible. So let's play the hypothetical game for a minute. Do we think Liverpool need to strengthen this position? I think yes. Most journalists think yes. But then you have a debate on how strong the interest is. We've seen previously that we were willing to spend big money for Joao Cancelo. I'm getting confused here. For Moise Caicedo. That we didn't work out. We also didn't get the next Chelsea production line signing. So we are where we are. We missed out on Lavia. We missed out on Caicedo. But he does fall into the bracket of FSG wet dream land. Right age profile. Young, semi-proven, international talent, and with the potential to continue to improve. So we've always been told the club will spend the right money for the right player at the right time. Is he the right player at the right time? And is there a world where we're wrong about John W. Henry and his wallet and that FSG will pony up the dough? So let's start off, Ben, with the first poll of the night and ask the question, do you think the signing of Joao Neves is possible for Liverpool? Something along those lines, yes or no? So let's wait and see what happened. I don't know much about the kid. I've heard his name mentioned for quite a while, but honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say I know him inside out. I absolutely do not. But if he's as good as Diogo thinks he is, and as good as others, let's see. Another article here saying Liverpool ready to make offer to sign £100 million plus star after contact made. So let's wait and see. Lots of conjecture, which is all we seem to get at this time of the season at the minute, but let's wait and see what happens with it. I'd be very pleasantly surprised if Liverpool did go ahead and make the offer, but we'll wait and see. Good player, but the Premier League is different, said David Messett, and thank you, David, for the first super chat of the night. Really appreciate that, bro. It is different, but look at it this way. The reason why I think this could work, right? Hear me out. Let's say we brought him in and he's 19 and he's, he might take a while. We still have Endo. We still have Bajcetic. Now, Endo isn't for the long term. We all know that. So imagine the future, maybe 2 seasons down the line, let's say. Endo's either getting less game time or has departed. You've got Bajcetic. You've got Neves. and you've got maybe Trent or the likes as well, McAllister in and around that position. I can see a world where Liverpool look at this and think Joao Neves and Stefan Bajcetic could be that future double pivot, or Trent Alexander-Arnold and one of the boys could be that future double pivot. So I can see a world where it makes sense. I genuinely can see a world where this makes sense. The only thing I'm struggling with is probably the same thing you're struggling with, and that's the idea of FSG spending €100 million without selling someone. But let's wait and see what happens. They've talked about the coming days. So Barry Poole said not on Liverpool radar. Yeah, everyone's not on Liverpool radar. That's what I've said, mate, at the start of the stream. I'm kind of getting fed up with journalists pretending that they're in the know but not having the balls to actually say who we're linked to. So they'll all tell us players we've monitored, and then they'll follow it up with, but according to club sources, that interest isn't strong, or Liverpool aren't really pushing for X or Y. Nobody's gone out yet and really said, yes, Liverpool are really interested in this player. You know, I can do we're monitoring them but we're not going in for them stuff. I can lie about that all day long. Same as everybody else, but these are journalists. These are supposed to have information. And not just the negative information. They're supposed to be able to inform us. Rachel, thank you, my friend, for gifting a membership. Very kind of you indeed. Is 5'8" too small for a DM? Absolutely not. Javier Mascherano enters the room. Look, if you're developing an ideal DM, you're probably looking 6'2", built like a brick shithouse, and yeah, ready to go. But good things do come in small packages, and Endo isn't the hugest. Mascherano wasn't the biggest. So yeah, I would say I wouldn't worry about the height too much if the player's good enough. Alex said, fed up with the local press. See, I love lots of the media. Like, example, I love David Ornstein's work. Big fan of James Pearce, always have been. Don't mind the Echo lads, although sometimes there's a little bit of nonsense on the site. But all in all, I have a fairly positive view. David Lynch I like as well. But the game this year seems to be, I'm going to tease you with players that Liverpool have been monitoring, but then I'm going to say that the interest isn't that strong. And that kind of winds me up a little bit. Because if you want to play that game, that's fair enough, but you can't just do the negative stuff. You've got to actually if you want to establish yourself and get some credibility, put the names out there. Or you just say you don't know and be honest. Because there's a load of journos at this time of the year trying to make a name for themselves. And look at any podcast or interview that they've all done. It all goes the same way. Yeah, this player's on the list, but not strongly on the list. Liverpool are looking for it in that position, but we're not nailed on in that position. Never yes, this is 100% the player. Because they either don't know, or they're very good at not telling tales. One or the other. We can go on the season with Endo as the number one DM. It will be, we can't go on this season with Endo as the number one DM. It will be criminal. So I love Endo. And I'm glad Endo's at the club. And Endo was a great squad player this season and really helped us out. But we can do better. That's where I'd be honest. I would still keep Endo around. Genuinely, I think he's great. I love Endo. I love his positivity. I love his work rate. I love everything about the guy. But I do think we can improve there. So yes, and a younger defensive midfielder who can learn from Endo, may not have to be dropped into the team immediately and can take a bit of time. That is what makes me kind of excited about the prospect of Joao Neves if we followed through with the offer. Sean, how are you, Sean? Said, for me, we have to bring in either Ederson or Youssouf Fofana from Monaco. Not so up on Fofana myself, mate, but I know he's available for a relatively small fee, right? I think it's about 20 million quid, something like that. Ederson is the one I'm hoping for. But if Joao Neves is as good as he's been made out to be by the likes of Diogo Jota and others, then I'm open to another DM. Of course I am. But my own preference at the minute, based off my research and what I know, would be Ederson. But that's because I haven't seen enough. Like, I haven't seen enough of Wiefer, as an example, or Wiefer, I'm not sure how you pronounce his name. I haven't seen anything really of Joao Neves, so yeah, this is why I'm relying on you guys to let me know. How good is this kid, or how good is his potential? Because if you're going to pay €100 million or anything close to that, you need as close to a guarantee as you can get that this kid's going to come through. Did you see when Darwin ignored some annoying YouTuber? No, I didn't, mate, no. It wasn't me. I'm an annoying YouTuber, but I don't go annoying players and stuff like that. Neves and Maka. That would be amazing, Timothy. Yes, Neves and Maka would be class. So, couple of things. Do hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel or you're just joining us. Also, don't forget to drop a like on the stream as well. Right, more news to get through, and we'll come back and revisit the poll in a few minutes on Joao Neves. But there is a lot of news today that I want to fly through. So, some outlets are still banging the Rodrigo drum. And at this point, I'm not really believing on Rodrigo, because he keeps saying he doesn't want to leave Real. And take him at his word. So, I'm going to ignore this, especially because of the price tag, and I'll get to that in a second. But, oh God, I want to try and pronounce your name, my friend. Mohammed John Soliev. There you go. Thank you, bro, for gifting 10 memberships. Gentlemen, really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you so much. Great generosity, and I'm sure they'll be well appreciated by the people who are the recipients as well. So thank you, bro. Right. According to Spanish news outlet Sport, Liverpool are still in the hunt to sign Real Madrid's Rodrigo. No, we aren't. Especially when you go down and see it would take an offer worth €150 million for Real Madrid to sell. Yeah, okay. Well, then we can put the kibosh on that one. That ain't happening. Because Liverpool aren't going to spend €150 million on Rodrigo. Because one, he's not worth €150 million. You know, we've got to be honest about that. He's a great player. And around the €100 million mark, it's probably closer to the valuation. But, nah, at €150 million, you can forget about that one. One thing that did catch my eye, though. Ethan, how are we, mate? You've put my name in all capitals. Are we good? Welcome in, bro. Nice to see you. So, this said, elsewhere, Liverpool are reportedly interested in signing Feyenoord goalkeeper Justin Biglo. That's according to The Telegraph, and they say Biglo is increasingly likely to join a Premier League club this summer. So I'd have no problem with Liverpool bringing him in, other than the one huge problem, which is, for a goalkeeper, he looks like the biggest sick note I've ever seen. Like, look at his injury record, and it is actually astonishing for a goalkeeper to have missed as many games as this dude has. Really decent keeper by the looks of it. Been linked with Liverpool, been linked with Arsenal. But you've never seen an injury record like his for a keeper. It is crazy. So I don't think we're likely to see that. Because let's say, for instance, that Allison has an injury or two, which has happened in recent years. The very least you want is your goalkeeper, your backup keeper being fit and available. And this dude looks like he's from the Naby Keita school of goalkeeping. My wife likes your humour. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan's wife. Yeah, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Weirdly, I had a lot of wives and girlfriends come up to us at the Belfast show and go, I used to be sick of hearing your voice. My fella used to be sitting there listening to you and I used to tell him to shut it up. And then I start listening and then I watch and now I like you. So I love that. Wives, welcome along. Girlfriends, welcome along. Boyfriends, welcome along. It is great to have you all with us and I do appreciate all of your support. Right, let's keep going. So, Ian Doyle, and this is kind of very much what I was speaking about. Ian Doyle has said, a new defensive midfielder, while not completely off the table for Liverpool sporting director Richard Hughes and the recruitment team, is not seen as an absolute priority in the forthcoming transfer window. So what has he done there? He's hedged his bets again and said, yeah, we might need a DM, but we might not sign one. So whatever way this goes, I'm right. This does my head in. Get off the fence. Stop letting those splinters get in your arse, lads. Get off the fence and tell us who we are interested in, or shut up. Respectfully, shut up. What do I think of England losing the game against Iceland? I wouldn't worry about it too much, to be honest with you. You know, you'd rather have a poor performance there than in the Euros. So I still think England, for me, minimum semi-finals. Could go all the way. France, Portugal look very strong as well. Yeah, let's wait and see. I'm very intrigued to see how the Euros goes, and of course it starts on Friday, and we will be covering it here on the channel. A lot of journalists are just saying what they want rather than what is true. So look, I can absolutely live in a world and understand journalists saying the club are playing their cards close to their chest. We haven't got a clue. I'd respect that, but the vagueness of stuff just kind of winds me up a little bit. I like Wharton from Palace before he's silly money, said Corbin, and thank you, sir, for your super chat. On him, it's believed Manchester City are very interested in Wharton, but not this season. Apparently, they're going to wait one more year to see how he develops, but I think if I was him, I'd wait one more year to see what league I'd be playing in if I went to Manchester City more than anything, but yeah, he's certainly been spoken about as a player. Look, Palace are bringing through some good players, aren't they? Well, you've got Eze, Elise, Wharton. There's some good players coming through at Crystal Palace. So they deserve their flowers, I guess, for their recruitment and their production line. Did you see Connor Bradley was at the double last night? I did, Ethan. And that kind of leads me in nicely to Jeremy Frimpong. So yes, he scored a brace last night. Looked really good doing it. But there's an article today coming out of Sport Bild in Germany that said Liverpool are one of several clubs interested in signing Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen this summer. They go on to say Arsenal, Manchester United, Barcelona have all been linked with the defender who has a release clause of €40 million. So I first read this and then I just thought, well, we can brush that under the carpet because we're kind of stocked in that area. Then I read on, the day went on, and I started reading more and more stories. And then it got a bit more interesting, because there were some outlets who were starting to play the Trent to Real Madrid game. You see where I'm going with this? And the way they phrased it was kind of clever. They said, in a worst case scenario, where Liverpool lose Trent Alexander-Arnold this summer, then Jeremy Frimpong could be a great option to come in and battle with Connor Bradley for that right-sided position. I don't want that to happen. I don't want Trent to go. And as much as Frimpong may be a decent signing, not at the expense of losing Trent. So I hope we're not getting buttered up for a potential Real Madrid raid on Trent here, because I'm still waiting to see some positive news on that front from Liverpool's side, because it's concerning that those links are there and he's away and he's not at the club at the minute and he hasn't signed the new deal yet. So, you know, the nerves are still there for me. But if we did lose him, and it's a big if, because I don't want it to happen, then I could understand the offer for Frimpong, particularly at the €40 million buyout clause. You know what you have to pay. But I get the feeling wherever Frimpong moves, it's going to be whoever gives him the highest wages, because €40 million is kind of low these days for a player who's proven. So I can see a lot of clubs throwing the €40 million at Leverkusen to try and trigger the clause. But the right fit and a big wage, I don't know. I'd rather keep Trent, obviously. What club do you see Elise ending up at this summer? I don't know, but the front runner would be Manchester United, in my humble opinion, at this moment in time. But I'm not saying it's nailed on. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But you asked me a question, I tried to answer it honestly. I'd say right now United may be the front runners in that race, but let's wait and see. I think Madrid are most likely to go for Frimpong. Yeah, they could well do that. Yeah, absolutely. Madrid could trigger that, and then he could hook back up with his former manager in a year's time if Xabi Alonso ends up at the Bernabeu. So yeah, that could well happen. But interestingly, they haven't really been linked too much with a move for Frimpong. So let's wait and see. But yeah, it's a good shout. I could see a world where that happens. Craig, have you seen any reports on young Newcastle winger Yakuba Minta was on loan at Feyenoord? Yeah, you can put that in the Liverpool not interested category. was speaking to a couple of people about this, read up quite a bit on this, and it looks like, yes, Newcastle are willing to sell the winger on, who you correctly said was at Feyenoord under Arne Slot, but Liverpool aren't interested in reuniting the two people. So I think Newcastle looking to raise about 40 million quid, but it won't be Liverpool. Alex, how are you, bro? Said, and thank you for being with us as a member for 10 months, mate. I'm not gonna lie, I've no idea who Neves is, and I really don't care. I'm sick and tired of us operating like a small club. We're Liverpool. I think if I'm reading your message right, you're like, I don't know who Neves is, but I like the idea of us spending a load of dosh and acting like a big club. I think that's the gist of your message, if I'm not mistaken, Alex. JP LFC, thank you for your super chat, mate. You're very kind. I always do appreciate when anybody, like, this is real money you guys spend. So I always want to make sure that I credit you and thank you for your super chat. So appreciate you, JP. Said Craig, why does this summer transfer window seem like it'll be one of the quietest ones we've had in a long time? Is it just FFP rules or the tournaments? So for us, I think we're in a good position to capitalise in this window. You're absolutely spot on, JP, about about the FFP calculations and profit and loss or profit and sustainability rules, and some clubs will have to do some selling before the end of this month. So the period is the end of June, and some clubs are going to be forced to do some uncomfortable business. Case in point, Aston Villa. Looks like they're losing Douglas Luiz and getting 20 million quid for McKennie and another player from Juventus. But I don't think Villa would have wanted to do that. So I have a little thing on Aston Villa actually that kind of annoyed me when I read it last night. Villa, where is this? 1 second. I want to read my notes. Villa were reported last night to be considering suing the Premier League. That news broke late last night. Now, it said considering. It didn't say that they were going to sue the Premier League. But there was a couple of articles last night that said, and I think I put it into the Discord group if I'm not mistaken last night when I seen it, that Aston Villa are considering suing the Premier League for the same type of thing, I believe, that Manchester City are. So, here's what annoys me. I like Villa as a club. Great club, sleeping giant. But why is everybody getting pissy now when they've all known the rules and signed up to the rules? And now the Villa are a Champions League club and have had to make a really uncomfortable decision based off the business they've conducted and stuff to get themselves to this position. Now they're kind of like, we want to spend loads of dosh because we're in the Champions League. Well, yeah, but you haven't got that money yet. So it's a 3-year cycle and you still have to figure that out. I don't understand this. It annoys me. You sign up to the rules, you adhere to them. I don't get it. And it's not a good look for Villa, because they don't want to be the club that's mentioned as being alongside Man City in suing the Premier League. It's it's disturbing to me. Got a feeling Slot will dip into the academy rather than spend big money on players. We have our own class of 92 coming through. We should utilise it. I agree to a certain extent, Chris. There are many good young players coming through, and we've started to see that production line develop with the likes of Bradley, Kwanzaa, Bobby Clark, McConnell, Cade Gordon, and many others. You are right. I'm with you. But we can't just rely on that. So whilst there's no doubt that Arne Slot has been brought in to improve the players that are there and the players that are coming through, we also do need to operate in the market and bring in some players as well. You know, we've lost Joel Matip, so with all the best intentions in the world, we need a centre-back and somebody who's ready to go right now. Defensive midfielder, you know, you could make an argument either way. You could say somebody in their prime, or you could talk towards the Joao Neves 19, 20 years of age bracket. So I get what you're saying, but I get very defensive, and I apologise. I get very defensive when I start hearing any positive talk about us not spending money, because it's been one of my biggest pet peeves under the last 10 years. You know, that Jurgen's operated with a £40 million net spend on average for 9 years when we're up against clubs who are spending £1 billion in a year. Now, that's not net, of course, but still. So, I'm okay with developing the younger players, but we also have to make sure that we're still competitive and we're still challenging. And that sometimes takes a bit of here and now money. The Detective, how are you, my friend? Thank you for your super chat. Said, do we have a potential breakaway league coming on the horizon? Perhaps it's best if City and the others leave and form their own Super League. So, do you remember when us, Arsenal, United and the other clubs were joining the Super League? And none of us as fans had anything to do with it. But we got grief everywhere. And we're still getting grief about it to this day. The 6 clubs who were running away to join the Super League about greed. And we got loads of abuse about it. We got abuse everywhere. Funny that there's not as much abuse going on now, isn't it? When clubs like Villa are talking about potentially suing the Premier League because they don't like the rules. Where's the fume there? Where's every other club jumping in on those clubs? Because when we were part of this, and remember, the fans weren't consulted. We made our feelings about the Super League known quite quickly, and we all came together as a collective, and it was kibosh, knocked on the head. So this is a disturbing pattern, and it's a pattern that I've got to be careful about my words here, but make no mistake about it. The very people who are looking to sue and spit in the face of the Premier League because of the rules they signed up to are coming from backgrounds where they don't have to deal with petty rules or red tape, because a lot of these time you're talking about autocratic countries where a couple of people or one person makes the decision and everybody else rolls along. So this whole tyranny of the majority bollocks, which is what it is absolute nonsense. That needs to go away. We can't even entertain this. We have to call this crap out. We can't entertain it. This tyranny of the majority is democracy. Simple as that. There's loads of stuff in our lives that we don't like. Don't like your politicians? What are you told to do? Get out and vote and change it. Canvass, vote, change. Premier League. You sign up 20 clubs, you need 14 votes to change something. You want to change the rules? Then canvass the clubs and get the support. Or don't. But this going straight to suing like a petulant, spoiled little bitch, that's pathetic. And we need to call this out. No more pussyfooting around. No more being respectful from where people are from or any of this. Yes, you need that in life. But in this situation, where's the respect for the rules and the order that's already established? So what Manchester City are doing is they're basically using the English system against itself by tying up all these cases and throwing more money at it. It's nonsense, lads. Time to grow a backbone and stand up and call this crap out for what it is. And I'm sorry, and I'm sure I'm going to get in more trouble for that, but I'm fucking sick of it. One thing I've consistently told you guys, I love football, I love the Premier League, and I love my own club, but I also need to look at the big picture. And there's too many pussies that aren't willing to call this crap out. It's about time we stood up to it, because we stood up for our values. It's our league. We need our values adhered to. You don't like a democratic process, then quite simply fuck off and go elsewhere. Would be a great Super League with City and Villa in it, no one else. Well, they'd have to leave the UEFA family at the minute. They'd have to leave all those competitions. They'd have to leave FIFA. You know, would the players be embargoed from playing for their countries? I don't know. Football belongs to fans, not autocratic dictators. And yes, and look, I want to say this very clearly. This is not against the people of Abu Dhabi or Saudi or any other country. You are welcome into our league, into our sport. It's great to have you in our chat. You are welcome. But what isn't welcome is this, I don't like the rules, so I'm going to try and blow up the entire process. That isn't welcome. That we're used to getting our own way, we'll do what we want attitude, that doesn't fly in a democratic process. There are rules that have been put in place for a reason. So we welcome in the new football fans, and of course we welcome in people from every race, religion and part of the world. It isn't about that. This is about a very, very small group of people telling the rest of us what's going to happen. Nah, Not going to happen, folks. I'm telling you, we will win this battle as a sport, as a footballing community. Alex Alvarado, how are you, my friend? Said, I'm most likely wrong about Neves. I'm just super frustrated with how FSG do things. I just wish we'd buy the players that are ready to win now while adding youth. I like that as well, Alex. And I'm on board with you on that one. So, I love that we've done some good business around the academy and the players that we're bringing in. And we have. We've, like Bobby Clark, great signing. Ben Doak, great signing. Trent Doherty, great signing. All brought in, all being coached the Liverpool way, being brought through the academy system. And fingers crossed we see them in the first team. But you're all right as well, mate. A couple of here and now signings keeps you competitive while you develop the talent. And if we get our own class of 92, as somebody mentioned earlier on, amazing. Like, be under no illusion. We all want youth players coming through, and a team full of youth stars would be brilliant. But we're not there yet. And while we're not there, we have to remain competitive. And we have to remain in the Champions League. And we have to be looking to win trophies. In my opinion, I think football can be better without UEFA and FIFA because them two organisations are corrupt. So, I have to be careful about calling anybody corrupt, obviously. So, I have to distance myself from that. What I can say is, do I believe that they have the best interests of football at heart? No, not at all. For two non-profit organisations, they certainly seem to be driven by greed quite a bit. So, yeah, I agree to the extent of I don't think they're perfect, but they are what we have. What else we got? Our academy isn't on the level of Ajax's and La Masia yet, but hopefully it'll get there. A little bit different with Ajax because the standard of the football in the league is lower. So the ability for coaches to develop players is a little, I won't say it's easier, but you're not coming in to a much more competitive league like the Premier League. La Masia is an interesting one because they, like everything, it's cyclical. They go through bursts of bringing players through. But our academy is certainly run by some very good people, and it's one of the very impressive things that FSG have done. I'll give them the credit on that. The academy system, the people they've got in there, developing, coaching and bringing players through, we've got to tip our hat to them. It is a very good setup. Is it a coincidence Villa are supporting City? They played their second team when they played City in the run-in. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But what I do know is it's not a good look again for the league. And I don't want to concentrate on that too much because these things are going to be drawn out and we'll talk about them many other times. But, we do have to grow a backbone as people and make sure that we stand up for what we believe in. And if that costs us a few problems, for instance, when we speak about this stuff and we talk about the autocratic nature of where some of these owners have come from, you're going to get called a racist, you're going to get called an Islamophobe, you're going to get called everything under the sun by people who want to defend the indefensible. You aren't Islamophobes. You aren't haters. You're standing up for your beliefs. And that's okay. Because as I said, the people of Saudi, Abu Dhabi, anywhere else, come, enjoy our football, get to know us, chat with us, come into our communities. It isn't about you. It's not about the people. It's about the few that are trying to rule and dictate to the many. And that's my point. Right, Ederson. Ederson on Liverpool links. This is a direct quote from him. Fabrizio Romano posted it up to say, I'm happy at Atlanta. My focus is on Brazil. I like Italy, but I'm also curious about the Premier League. He's doing the full Ian Doyle in the Echo here, isn't he? I like where I am, but I also like where I might get to. The only possibility to leave is if Atalanta receive a proposal and then they decide. It's up to Atalanta. Now look, he's a player. I firmly expect him to say exactly what he said. You can't alienate the Atalanta fans because if you don't get a move, you want to still make sure that you're okay in Bergamo. You're okay and supported by the fans. So I get where he's coming from. but it looks to me like he is angling for a move to the Premier League in the future. I stand for the integrity of the game. City are a club trying to rule with an iron fist. Exactly. It's our way or we're blowing the whole process up. That's what City are basically doing here, in my opinion. How's the weather where I am right now? It's been overcast, Evie, most of the day, mate. Do you think Slot can mould Gravenberch into a DM? He's got the size and carries the ball well. Could do. I was reading a bit from Raphael van der Vaart as well, who was speaking about Ryan Gravenberch and kind of saying similar to what you said. I think, if I'm right in remembering this, I think he used the example of De Jong. Not Frankie De Jong, the other De Jong, the one that kicked Alonso in the chest in the World Cup. Nigel. He said Nigel De Jong was a midfielder that could play in any of the midfield positions, but he had to excel in one, so he became a defensive midfielder. And then he used Gravenberch as an example of a player who he believes, if he hones in on one particular position, could be world class. Could he be a 6? I think he probably could, but honestly I feel it will be a waste of his talents. I like him carrying the ball through midfield. And one of the things I like about Ryan Gravenberch is also he loves getting into the penalty area. And when he plays, more often than not, he at least has a couple of attempts in a game. So I like him more forward thinking. But could he do it? I think he could. Where somebody's birthday, is it? Josh, is it? Josh, happy birthday. I can't see the original post, mate, but happy birthday. Isn't the Irish League not even on telly over there? It used to be kind of rarely on telly on a Friday, but now there's the League of Ireland TV where you can buy a subscription and watch all the games. Right. Allison, I want to talk about our keeper for a minute, and it's time we give him even more flowers than he's already gotten, because this piece here says Liverpool handed Allison transfer boost as big money contract agreed. So what they're talking about in the article is that Alisson turned down a shed load of money to go over and play in the Saudi Pro League because he likes Liverpool and wants to stay. And the piece then goes on to say that they've moved for Wojciech Szczesny instead of Alisson now to come into the Saudi Pro League, and he's been offered something like 250 grand a week, something like that. But Alisson, our hero, our Brazilian Adonis, our big beautiful bearded goalkeeper, the best in the world, is happy and staying at Liverpool Football Club. If you didn't love the man now, or if you didn't think you could love him some more, perhaps now you do, because I do. I love Alisson. I love that he turned the money down. I love that he wants to stay at Liverpool. I love Alisson, full stop. Best goalkeeper in the world, and we have him. How good is that to say? I originally thought he'd be turned into a 6. Can't deny his quality. He just needs to learn to slide tackle, said Philip. So there's a couple of good quotes, Philip, from defenders about slide tackles. And it's, if you need to do a slide tackle, you've already made a mistake. You shouldn't have to get to that point. Like a Virgil van Dijk. You very rarely see Virgil going to ground. It's about timing, not just needing to learn to slide tackle. It's about reading of the game. And I think Gravenberch could do it, but I think he's better further forward, in my humble opinion. Craig, someone told me the window opens in July. Is that true? No, the window opens on Friday. 14th is when the window opens. So, yeah, 2 days and the transfer window is officially open. Ali, what is this? Ali? Yeah, Ali jersey next season, especially with that dodgy collar on the red kit. Yeah, it's yeah. Don't get me started on that kit again, bro. Have I missed something? Didn't Chelsea have 125 million in sales? Yeah, just agreed a fee to sign Pedro Lima. I've no idea, Jake. I haven't really kept track of Chelsea's business other than Adebayo, the centre back that they signed on a free from Fulham. That's the only kind of thing I know about Chelsea's business. That, and they're looking for a winger. They're the only things I really know. They talk about selling Conor Gallagher as well. Sorry. Okay, yeah, Mark's just sent me a really good update on something I wanted to talk about yesterday, but let's revisit this poll first. Oh wow, loads of votes on this one. We said, do you think the signing of Joao Neves is possible for Liverpool this summer? And it's had nearly 1,250 votes, and after 35 minutes, almost 60%, 59% of you guys think yes, it's possible, 41% feel it's not. So Ben, I've got another poll for you, bro, but I don't know how to word this. So somebody said to me yesterday, and it was a really good point, and I've got to be honest, it was one I hadn't thought of before. They said, do you think that Virgil, Mo or Trent are hanging off the contract renewals because they don't want to be the first one to commit to a number? And by that I mean, let's say Virgil agrees a deal and he gets another 50 grand on his wages. Is that then the baseline for the negotiation for Rami Abbas for Salah, or for Trent's agent for Trent? Is there a bit of brinksmanship going on? So are the boys hanging off to see what the other ones get? I don't know how we word that in a poll, Ben, sorry. But it's a really good point that I hadn't really given much consideration to until somebody mentioned it yesterday. So let me know if you think that's a possibility, and we'll get that up in a poll somehow. Did I see what happened in the Qatar v India game? I didn't, Eddie, or excuse me, Abdul. I didn't, mate, no. Excited for this season, Craig. Love the channel. Thank you, Joseph. And yes, I am. Now, we do know Arne Slot is on holiday because I think his daughter posted saying with the parents, and it was them on holiday in Ibiza or something. And good. So at least we know where the gaffer is. You know, he's still on holiday, so that explains why you haven't heard from him yet, which is good news. So, I am excited. Yeah, I'm really excited. Because I'm excited and nervous. Because a change always makes you nervous, but I also feel it was the right time for Jurgen to do what he did. And I think everything I've read about Slot and all the reports from players who've trained with him, played under him, his man management style, it's all positive stuff. So what I don't believe is that he's a patsy being set up for failure. Some people believe he's like the sacrificial lamb because he's coming after Klopp, and then the real next guy will come after him. I don't buy into that. Adam Brown said, I think Douglas Luiz for 50 million is a bargain. Agreed. I think Villa are certainly getting the worst side of that deal, in my opinion. Weston McKennie, another player, in 20 million for Douglas Luiz. I'd rather keep Douglas Luiz if I was Aston Villa. And I know they need to free up some money, but you could sell another player for 20 mil to free up that money. So we got a DM from somebody who was asking me to do a Father's Day video for their partner. And I don't want to ruin that, so I'll say, yeah, I'll get to the point. But in the video, the person said, I'm going to get my fella tickets to your live show for Father's Day. My warning is, sincerely, if any of you are thinking of coming to the live show, particularly the Liverpool one, I can't say this clearly enough. If you wait a week or 5 days, there's every chance it's sold out. Because we're down to a handful at this point. And I've even released some back in of our own allowance. So if you want to come to Liverpool or Cardiff, don't hang about. Cardiff, you've got a bit of wiggle room. We've got space in Cardiff. What, Liverpool, we're down to 14 tickets maybe. So yeah, I hope you can come along. Again, you can get your tickets, the link at the top of the chat and in the description. But I wouldn't hang around because I'd hate to hear somebody go, I wanted to go, but I've tried I know you're sick of me talking about it, but I'm doing it for double reasons. I'm doing it so no one's disappointed, and of course I'm also doing it to make sure we can get ticket sales. But Cardiff, we've got a bit of wiggle room. 15 quid for the tickets. On Cardiff you can get a group ticket for 40 or for £50 for 4 tickets. Right. Is Kelleher leaving? Nothing's been decided that I'm aware of yet. There is, of course, the distinct possibility that Kelleher leaves. It would take a bid probably over 20 million quid for Liverpool to sell. And it'll probably come down to who the offer's from and if it appeals to Kelleher. The club would love to keep Queeveen around because, you know, everything I read suggests that Liverpool view him as one of the best backup goalkeepers in the Premier League, and I've got to agree. Benfica inflate the value of their players like Real Madrid. Yes, but that's your prerogative, isn't it? If you go and bring in these players at a young age from South America or elsewhere and develop them, well, that's kind of your prerogative to then ask for the big bucks, right? Look at Darwin Núñez, Almeria, Benfica, and then to us for a big sum of money. And Enzo Fernandez, another one. So, yeah, it's they do it, but they also know they can generate a lot of cash. I think I'd be happy with Bakayoko plus Vifer or Ederson and Pacho, Hincapié or Colwill. Oh, and if you can pop Rodrigo in the basket, that would be good. Well, if Real Madrid really want the 150 million euro for Rodrigo Goish, then that's not happening. Most of the other ones you've spoken about, every single one of them are achievable. Particularly Colwill. That one really interests me. If Bayern Munich are interested in him and they get any type of leeway, or Chelsea show any interest, then I think in selling we should be right in there. And actually, do you want to hear an even weirder link? Are you ready? Sit yourselves down. You're not going to like it, but Vincent Kompany reportedly wants to return to the Premier League and raid Liverpool for Joe Gomez. According to the Mirror, they're reporting that Vincent Kompany is eyeing up defensive reinforcements, which they clearly are. We know that Bayern are in for a centre-back anyway. They're looking at Jonathan Tah. We're speaking about Levi Colwill. Well, this piece believes that he likes the look of Joe Gomez because of his experience and his versatility. So, it also, in fairness to the report, it does say that Liverpool will issue a firm hands-off warning to Bayern Munich, which they should. But, again, it's an interesting one. Because it's not the first time I've seen Gomez linked with a move away from Liverpool. I think he was linked last summer with a move to Arsenal or something. I could be wrong on that link, but there was a move somewhere in the Premier League. And then there was a few other things that said Joe's a little bit disappointed with, not having a position nailed down. I don't know if any of these are true, but what I do know to be true is that Joe Gomez was really important for us last season and in many other campaigns. Without Joe last year, we'd have been up shit creek. Him being able to fill in at left back, right back, centre back, even DM in one time or another, or a couple of times, sorry. Yeah, I hope to God there's nothing to that, because we need to be keeping Joe Gomez around. Etienne Reinen will not be joining Arne Slot at Liverpool, will stay at Feyenoord, according to a report Mark just sent me from Anything Liverpool. Thank you, Mark. No clue why Bayern need a centre-back when they have like 3-4. They're selling De Ligt. De Ligt looks like he's on the list of players that Bayern are willing to cash in on. So Gnabry, De Ligt, Kimmich, Coman, and there's a couple more that I can't remember off the top of my head, have been spoken about as being ones that Bayern Munich are willing to sell. Loads of people have been saying Liverpool should look to bring in Matthijs de Ligt and have the Dutch partnership. But for me, I think, isn't he on like 350 grand a week, something like that? And we ain't going to pay him that. And with his sketchy injury record as well, I don't think he's worth it. My sister said she's not into sports, but we love to watch you while smoking some wax. Wax? Get yourself some green. But yes, thank you, Alex. Appreciate you and your sister and everybody else that watches. So, again, let's get the likes up. We're closing in on 400. Let's see if we can get up to 5. So do take a sec. Hit that like button, my friends, if you haven't done so. And don't forget to subscribe. Right, I'm checking my notes because I know I've got loads more to get through. Right, Inacio. So, there's an article that says, Sporting have set Inacio conditions. And I don't really even know why we need an article for this, but they say that they're basically going to want the 60 million euro release clause that's in his contract. And my take on this is simple. If we sign Inacio, fair enough, but Can I have the 20 million quid next time you want to piss away 20 million quid, please, Liverpool? Because we could have got him last year. So if Liverpool really do want to sign him, and again, as a quality of player, no problem with it. But spending 20 million quid on somebody who we could have had last year for 20 million less would bug me a little bit. Again, because it doesn't really lead into being financially prudent. My dream window would be Van de Ven, Fofana, Griezmann. Ah, no, David, come on now. Elise, Aitnuri, and some dude I've never heard of, Zubiani or something. I don't know much about Fofana other than he's at Monaco, and we previously signed a DM from Monaco, so maybe. Griezmann, I wouldn't want him near the club. He's 33, and just not for me. You know, I'd pass on that one. Van de Ven would be great. I feel, I said this for quite a while, Van de Ven feels like one that got away. I think he would have been brilliant, and I think Spurs have a really, really good centre-back. Now, I know he's had some injury concerns, but I do think Van de Ven's a really good player. You're amazing, Craig. Love your show. It makes the off-season short. Thank you, bro. I hate this. This last couple of weeks have been really tough because there's not much happening. You want to give people news. You don't want to lie. It's been difficult to come up. That's why we didn't put out a video today at 5. Because I didn't want to bombard you guys with stuff when, you know, we can talk about it all at 8:30 tonight. There's not enough news for me. Van de Ven was definitely one that got away. Still bummed, said the Faceman Network. So what do we think about United sticking with Mr. Ten Hag? I can already hear Ben punching his keyboard from here. So for me, this is very simple. One, they couldn't find a manager to work within the framework who they believe was better than Ten Hag. And that's probably okay. Because I can understand the world where you look around and think, can we improve what we have? The answer, no, we stick with what we have. But I don't really believe that to be the case. I think that Erik Ten Hag is now just a dead man walking from a managerial perspective. I don't think I'll be amazed if he lasts the season. I think as soon as United go through a sticky patch now, and do you know what? Fair play to United fans, because they have, a lot of them have said this is good news. A lot of them have said that he deserves the right to carry on. I think he's an absolute, I don't want to say fraud, but I don't rate him as highly as others do. And if you think finishing 8th place in the league is acceptable, you know, I know Ten Hag bangs on about injuries and stuff, but dude, you signed a lot of them players. The ones that are injured, like, they were your decisions. So yeah, for me, I'm kind of happy they're sticking with Ten Hag because I don't rate him that highly. Dreg Dillian said, I love it. It's the best decision they could have made unless they replaced them with Southgate. That'll be an interesting one. Like, if Southgate does do as he says, and if England don't win the Euros, quits, what happens then? Like, let's say November, United are 6th in the league, and Southgate leaves England. Are Ten Hag still safe? Because it seems like Dave Brailsford and Jim Ratcliffe really, really do love the idea of Gareth Southgate. So yeah, I'm interested to see. I don't think Ten Hag lasts the season anyway. Who do I hate more, Ronaldo or Man City? 100% Manchester City. Look, Cristiano Ronaldo I don't like for a whole load of reasons, but I respect the man's football. I respect what he did in his career. I would have no problem admitting that he's one of the best footballers I've seen in my lifetime behind Leo Messi. I'll give Ronaldo his flowers for what he achieved on the pitch, 100%. The other lot, City, yeah, you know my take on them. No time for them. Right, let's have a look at the poll, which is quite close. Do you think VVD, Salah and Trent are stalling contract talks in order to get preferential terms. 55% of you think yes, and 45% think no. So I think I can't really see Salah doing that, because I still think the argument for Salah is I can leave for free and get a big signing on bonus of 100 million quid or so if I go to Saudi or elsewhere after one more season. So for me, the biggest surprise would be to hear Mohamed Salah signed a new deal with Liverpool. That would surprise me more at this point than any other outcome. Virgil, I'm tossing and turning in between everyone knowing he's happy and comfortable in the club, just being understanding of that, and Virgil being understanding of that. I can see a time where Virgil is, or I can see a situation where Virgil says, yeah, I'm good, we'll talk, get the other stuff out of the way, because he's captain, feels settled. I can see that. But Trent scares the shit out of me, because I cannot understand a world where this has been allowed to happen, and I bang on about it every day. But every day that goes by that Trent hasn't signed a new deal, it gets scarier. And he's away with England now for the Euros, and he's got Bellingham there, pally with him. I don't know, it concerns me. Trent is a scary one, we better sort it. Yes, you're right, Harry, and still, for the life of me, don't understand how this was able to happen. But Joao Neves is my favourite signing. Well, actually, do you know what? We'll do a DM poll. So throw me in some names you'd like in a poll for DM. I'm going to start it off, Ben, if you're listening. So three names I'm going to throw at you, Ben. There's probably 4, actually. So here's 4 names that I'm suggesting. Ederson, Neves, Ugarte, and Wiefer. I would imagine they're probably the 4 most common choices. So Fofana is in there as well. So I feel like the most likely ones that we've heard about are Wiefer, Ugarte, Ederson, and Neves. But I do understand the Fofana shout as well. Palhinha's going to Bayern Munich, mate. That'll probably happen over the next week or so by the looks of it. Mart said, unpopular opinion, hope only Trent stays. Verge seems too casual in lots of games. Look, I know I said I'm not the biggest fan of Verge being captain, and I've explained my reasoning many times, but I am the biggest fan of Verge, the centre-back. And I think he has 2 or 3 good years left in him easily. So for me, I want Verge to stay. I really want him to stay. Salah, I want to sell, because I think he's past his best. And I think he's aiming to maybe leave for free. So I want to look after the club in that one. Who's Wiefer? Wiefer, W-I-E-F-E-R. F-F-E-R, sorry. I just don't know how you pronounce it properly. So the poll's up there, and we said, who would your preferred Liverpool sign for CDM? Ederson, Joao Neves, Ugarte, or Mats Wiefer of Feyenoord? I'll leave that poll running, and thank you again, Ben, for your great work in the background. He looks casual because he makes it look easy. Yes, exactly. My whole argument is, for the captain stuff with Van Dijk, I wouldn't respond to that type of leadership personally, but others may. I'm the type of person that needs to be shouted at or needs emotion brought out of me to get the best out of me. So Verge's style of leadership wouldn't work for me. I'm much more confrontational. What if Trent has already told Liverpool he wants out? I hope. Oh, God. Of all the things coming into this transfer window, lads, I never thought I'd be worrying about Trent actually leaving. Like, even though I've been saying all along it's stupid we're in this position, it's only really in the past 72 hours that the fear has hit me. Because for a big transfer to happen, stars have to align. Things have to happen at the right time. And any other fucking club, if it wasn't Real Madrid, because let's be honest, it's a pretty impressive offer if it comes your way. To go and play at a club who've just won the European Cup and have won it 15 times. Who've won La Liga. Who've signed Bellingham. Who've got Mbappe, Vinny Jr., Rodrigo, Valverde, Tchouaméni, Camavinga. Probably Alphonso Davies coming in maybe as well. Maybe next year having Alonso come in as manager. I mean, it's a scary proposition to think about. You're hoping and you're thinking Trent's a Scouser, loves the club, born and bred, wants to stay, and I hope to God that's the case. But I am starting to get scared because I want to just hear from him. I want to just hear from Trent to say, I want to be at Liverpool for the rest of my career. I know that would probably weaken his negotiating standpoint, but anything, a little glimpse of, I've no thoughts of a move at this time, anything along those lines would be great. "365 days ago," said Anakin, it was, or Mr. Skywalker, it was Agent Trent, now it's Agent Bellingham. Yep. And that frightens me. Chill, Craig, he's not Gerrard. Well, the idea for Gerrard was, one, he was, okay, how do I say this? The thing about Steven Gerrard's move to Chelsea, or almost moving to Chelsea, is not just about leaving Liverpool. It's about the type of club he was joining. So if you were to say, pick clubs that are at the polar opposite of the Premier League with regards to a lot of aspects of their cultural life, Liverpool and Chelsea are polar opposites. One, potentially, more Tory leaning, the other far more Labour based. It's kind of like the antithesis of everything Liverpool is. The kind of flash London centric. So it was a bit deeper with Gerrard and Chelsea because he was leaving us to go to a rival in the league. Whereas Real Madrid, with 1 year to go in your contract, I think it's a more palatable option than running away. Like, case in point, if this was Trent going to City, I'd be like, nah, not happening. But I don't know. I hope it's not happening, but I can't lie and say I'm not worried about it. Aaron, by the way, we're halfway through tonight's stream, so loads still to come. Keep your questions coming in. Don't forget, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't. When we concede, VVD throws his hands in the air and that's to mope. That's not leadership, but I don't think many actually dribble past him. But he can't do it all as well, V. Aaron. Like, one of my gripes is that we back off, and then we're inside around 18-yard box. Now, I'm a bit more calm if that's Trent or Virgil one-on-one. But if it's our whole back line that are dropping where we're being run at, that confuses me. Because we're just inviting pressure at that point, and I don't like it. But with he can't do everything. So when he throws his hands up in the air, sometimes it could be because he's frustrated with those around him. Asantino, and again, thank you very much for your super chat, mate. It's very kind. Said, as a Liverpool kid, he saw Gerrard and saw what happened after. He might say Real only comes calling once in a lifetime. As I said, if it was any other club in world football, I wouldn't say that there's much of an attraction there, but it is the biggest club in world football. And if they have their eyes set on Trent, and they're buttering him up with Bellingham, and they're looking at his contract situation at Liverpool, I just hope we get a positive resolution, because it would be a bombshell if Trent left Liverpool. Like, it would probably be the biggest surprise of my entire time watching Liverpool for that to happen. The biggest disaster of a transfer. It would be... I can't think of anything that would hit harder than that, in all honesty. David said, when you're in Trent's position and Real Madrid are after you, would it be stupid to blindly reject them? Or it would be stupid to blindly reject them. It's Real Madrid, the greatest and biggest club in the world, who are winners, and it's all about legacy. I mean, there's some good points. The only defence we have of this from our perspective is that he's a Scouser through and through. And we hope that his heart rules his head. You know, but everything you've said there is fair. Bigger than Torres? Absolutely. Trent leaving for Real Madrid is, to me, way bigger issue than Torres leaving for Chelsea or anyone. Like, yeah, like that hurt. Suarez hurt. Coutinho hurt. But Trent would flabbergast me. If he wants to leave, no one's bigger than the club. Now, of course, none of us are saying Trent wants to leave. We've got to make that pretty clear. Like, we don't know for a fact or even that he's weighing up leaving. We don't know that. All we as fans know right now is that Trent's going into the last year of his contract. He's away with the England team, and reports are linking Madrid with a move from. That's all we know. Everything else is conjecture. So let's not go over the top with it. But I'm just giving you my own opinion that up until 72 hours ago, it concerned me, but I fully believe it will be resolved. Now, I'm more hopeful rather than confident. Ben said that he's seen Beckham, his hero, leave for Madrid, and that hurt. Ronaldo leaving for Madrid also hurt. Even Van Nistelrooy. I never really thought about that, Ben, to be fair. Now, Beckham, again, he's not a mank, but I get where you're coming from. So yeah, it is possible. You know, Real Madrid are Real Madrid at the end of the day. Trent might win medals at Real Madrid, but he'd spend most of his time on the bench. Would he? I don't think he would. You know, interestingly, from the articles that I'm reading, they seem to think they're looking at him as a Carvajal replacement rather than a midfielder. So, if I think about it from the perspective of Trent coming in there, he's not being benched. He's definitely getting played. Like, Real Madrid like to attack. Trent's going to get games if he went there. So I don't think he's going there and he's going to be sitting on the bench. What about McManaman? Exactly. McManaman, Michael Owen, you know, they were in similar situations and moved to Madrid. Now, McManaman, I think, didn't he grow up an Everton fan, or have I got that wrong? I know Carragher grew up an Everton fan, but what would be a fair price for Trent? So we did this poll the other day, and we got a result. I didn't agree with the result, but it was your vote. I want to leave the DM poll up for a bit longer because I'm really interested to see who you guys would like. For me, with 1 year to go in his contract, I wouldn't take less than 70 to 75 million minimum. Without 1 year left on his contract, I mean 120 is probably the number for me. But with the situation he's in, knowing that if he'd made his mind up, because remember one important factor here, if Trent decided he wanted to go to Madrid, and if Liverpool blocked it at all costs, he only has to wait till January, and then he could sign a pre-contract agreement. So we have to be realistic if there was a number, because it's going to be a number that Real Madrid will weigh up. Well, do we need him right this minute, or can we wait 1 year and get him for free? So the number would have to be realistic. That's why I've said about 70 to 75 million. But I think his market value, if he had 3 years on his deal, is much higher. He would not have the type of fans that he has now. Granted, absolutely. And it's his city, and it's, you know, where he grew up. But we have to think about it through the eyes of a supreme athlete. So Trent didn't get to play for Liverpool just because he grew up in Liverpool. Trent got to play for Liverpool because he worked his ass off, believed, chased his dreams, showed up every day, trained hard, listened to his coaches and got to where he's got to. So you have to have the drive and ambition to do these things. And Trent has also won everything he could win at Liverpool. You got to talk about that as well. Like, he's won the Prem, he's won the European Cup, League, FA Cup, Super Cup, Club World Cup. He's won it all. Gerrard hadn't won everything at Liverpool at the point. So, you know, I feel like I'm talking myself into being more scared here, by the way. Trent always goes to Madrid in FIFA. So I don't know where to go with that, Abel, my friend. Then Rodrigo for Trent makes sense, said A Santino. So look at it like this. Madrid apparently value Rodrigo, who has a really long contract. He's 3 or 4 years left. He only signed a new deal. So his valuation is a valuation with a long contract. So I don't think you're going to see a swap deal there. I think, honestly, we'd end up having to put 50 million quid on top of Trent. And that sounds like the most ridiculous thing in the world. So there's no way I can even envision that happening, because I feel like we were robbed. What is the Joao Neves news? No problem, Ian. Happy to go through a few again, my friend. So for those coming in late, firstly, welcome in. We've about 45 minutes to go on tonight's stream. Remember, hit that like button if you haven't done so. Don't forget to drop a sub as well. But yes, the news today, mate, started off today with a report out of Portugal from CM Jornal that said Liverpool have identified Benfica defensive midfielder Joao Neves as a priority target. It is expected that the Reds will come forward in the coming days with a proposal. So at this point, I'm just kind of shrugging my shoulders and going, just another report, you know. But as the day went on and some more stuff got put out there, so we've got loads of lovely comments from Diogo Jota speaking about Joao Neves and speaking about the fact that he's a player destined for the top level and, you know, loads of positive stuff. Then another article comes out saying the battle to sign Joao Neves is heating up, with Liverpool reportedly poised to launch a big money offer for the Manchester United target after he received praise from Diogo Jota. It goes on to talk about with Casemiro being past his best, yada yada yada. United are in the market and I've had a 50.9 or 50.5 million pound offer rejected. Goes on to say, according to the latest reports in Portugal, Arne Slot and Liverpool have identified the teenage talent as an important target for the 24-25 season and are set to thunder into the race with a bid of their own. The offer will arrive in the next few days, meaning it is likely to emerge before the end of the week. It's not yet known how much Liverpool are willing to pay for the Portuguese star, but it will have to be far more than the 50.5 million after seeing United's offer laughed off. And then a couple more pieces came out as the day went on. So, you know, this isn't one where we've heard that Liverpool are just interested. This is an outlet saying that an offer is coming. So we'll know very quickly if they're talking out their backside or not. Because if we don't see an offer in the next week, then we know that this is all just bluster. But what we also know is he's going to the Euros. And if you think about it from the perspective of, is it a realistic FSG signing? I say yes. The reason I say yes is the age profile. Remember what we've been told about the perfect FSG signing. 19 to 24. Experienced, but still with potential to develop. This kind of, he ticks a lot of those boxes. Played with Benfica, plays with the national team, and has plenty of potential to be coached better, to improve, and has a long career ahead of him. The money side of it, it'll be a difficult one, because will Benfica negotiate downwards from their 100 million valuation? I don't know. But I would be pleasantly surprised. But if Liverpool do have him signalled out as the one they want, then let's wait and see. And Frimpong, no problem, Yannick. Let me just get my notes open, bud, on Frimpong. Where's my Frimpong notes? There we go. So this piece was in Germany from Sport Bild, who say Liverpool are one of several clubs interested in signing Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen. Arsenal, United and Barcelona have also been linked with the defender, who has a release clause of 40 million euro, though no talks have progressed involving any interested parties. So, how I look at this story is, we don't need Frimpong if Trent stays, in my humble opinion. Because you have Connor Bradley, you've got Joe Gomez, you've got Trent, all capable of playing at right back. Even if Trent moves into midfield, you know, you probably, do you even bring in another right back? Because like Bradley's ready to announce himself. So it would have to be if Trent left, in my opinion, for that to make any sense. But even at that, I still think you're looking at a bidding war, but of wages. Because the release clause is the release clause. It's 40 million euro. And it's not a number that's going to be too big to put off a load of interested clubs. So it might come down to who's willing to pay the most in wages. Or maybe it comes down to who's the best project. I don't know. But for that deal to make any sense to me, it would have to be with the worst case scenario of Trent leaving. So for me, I'm hoping it doesn't happen because I want Trent to stay and I want Conor Bradley to be the right back. Sarang said Kudus is the perfect replacement for Salah. Well, I'm going to push back a little bit, bro, but hear me out. I love Kudus. I'd be very happy if we signed Kudus. But if you want the perfect replacement for Salah, now, it's unrealistic, but for me, the perfect is Jarrod Bowen. That's the perfect. It's shorter term thinking, it's a load of money, and it's really unlikely. But if you want to just take one player out, drop another player in, and it to be somewhat seamless, I'm still saying Jarrod Bowen is the best fit for a here and now drop in. Now, I'm not saying Bowen's doing Salah numbers, but I don't expect anybody to do the numbers Salah did. So that's not going to be my expectation of whoever comes in. I think Bowen is that person. If it was me, you know, I'd like Bowen, but I can't see Liverpool doing that because it's too short-term thinking. Frimpong and Bradley on the right, Gomez and Robbo on the left, said Trek Wars. Yeah, I mean, I'm intrigued to see what happens with Costas Tsimikas as well, because there's more than a few outlets who are suggesting that Costas could be potentially on the move this summer. Nobody's really put their neck out yet, but he's always been listed as somebody who the club may listen to offers for. What about Musiala? Yeah, but you're not going to get Musiala out of Bayern Munich, so, you know, it's fantasy stuff. They won't sell him. Why would they? You know, would you? I wouldn't sell him if I was Bayern Munich either. Do I think there's a world where Edwards sells all three? No, because that's too much change. We've lost our manager, our vice manager, some backroom staff, Thiago, Matip. There's a lot of change already happening at the club. So the idea of losing those and Salah, Trent and Verge, that's just asking for trouble. So no, I can't see that being the case. Who's getting Wirtz? My guess is Bayern in 2025. I don't get the links for Wirtz with Real Madrid. It doesn't make sense to me other than the Alonso stuff, because like they've got more than enough attacking talent there. So maybe next year they sell Rodrigo to fund Wirtz. I can see a world where that happens. But right now, as their squad sits, I don't think they need Florian Wirtz. He's a great player. But do they need him? Probably not. DKH96 said, would be happy to bring Robinson from Fulham to replace Costas. Yeah, I like him as well. The only problem is, he's what, 27, Anthony Robinson? So it's not exactly one for the future, but, you know, there's a lot to like about him. David said, yes, McManaman is a toffee. Leaving on a free puts him alongside Owen going to Man United for me, said David Smith. A team with Wirtz and Musiala is mad, said Morganski. And again, like, if there's one thing Bayern Munich like to do, it's have the best German talent, right? So if there's a German superstar in world football, Bayern want them in Germany, and Bayern want them staying within the league and with them. And they've made no secret of their admiration for Florian Wirtz. So I think they're going to really try hard to get him in there. But can they do it or not? I don't know. Nobody's going to get him this summer. He's definitely going to stay at Leverkusen for this season. It's the Bayern financial plan to sell one of their best players every summer window. I don't think I would agree with that about the best player part. Oh, sorry, you said Bayer track back and apologise. That you're correct about. Sorry, I read your post wrong. Bayer Leverkusen, yes, you're spot on. They have said that themselves, that their model is to go out there, sell one big player, and then top it up with a couple of more signings that will longer term improve the team. Sorry, mate, I read that incorrectly the first time. The Canter, you're spot on. Plus, they have Kane. Yes, they do. I'm more interested to see actually what happens there with Company, because I think that's just a mad show as manager. Wiefer is slept on for real. I don't know that much about him, mate. That's my honest assessment. Is I don't know enough about him to say yes or no. So it's not a no for me, but I can't say yes either. I'm relying on other people who's watched the Eredivisie a lot more than I have, and I have no idea about Wiefer. I'm not going to get a chance to look at him in the Euros, so I'll probably have a better take after the Euros is over. Right, in this poll so far, with about 800 votes, we asked you, who would you prefer Liverpool to sign for CDM? Ederson, Joao Neves, Ugarte or Wiefer? And so far it's 48%, almost half the vote for Ederson, but there's still time to change. We're going to leave that poll running right until the end, because I think this is the most unsure I am about a position. I can give you 5 or 6 targets for centre-back, but whoever the right person is for DM really interests me. Would I take Schick from Leverkusen? No. Again, he's what? I think he's 26 or 27? Patrick Schick? No. Same with Grimaldo. I think it's a case of right club, right manager, right time for those players. Will you be doing live streams for the Euros? Of course, yeah. We're going to be live for the first game from 7:30 on Friday for Germany-Scotland. We'll do our Anfield Agenda Liverpool stream at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon till about 6:15. Then I'm going to take a little break and then be back on at 7:30 for Germany and Scotland. Hiring Company feels like playing bingo desperation. It feels like a massive leap of faith. Based off what? He got promoted with Burnley, and then they had a shocking season in the Premier League. Now, I'm not saying that Vincent Kompany's to blame for that. It's a big ask for anybody coming up from the Championship, but I don't see it. I can't remember what he achieved at Anderlecht, so I can't really talk about that, but yeah, it's a big jump. Would you take Kirkes as a backup left back and Nico Williams from Bilbao? Again, don't know enough about the left back player. Nico Williams, big fan of him, and I like the fact that he's got a 55 million quid buyout clause. The only thing that makes Nico Williams potentially a problem is the wage that he's believed to be on at Bilbao, which is like €250,000 a week. And at first I thought, nah, no way that can be true. But then somebody actually spelled it out and said, look, they don't spend a lot of their money on transfer fees for the obvious reasons that they like to have players from the Basque region. And that's why they're able to spend big wages on the players that want to keep around. And it makes sense. If you don't have to spend a lot of your turnover on fees, then you can afford to pay the players you want to keep good money. Wirtz might be the Kroos successor for Real Madrid. Remember, Kroos used to be an attacking midfielder before joining Real Madrid. Good, as long as it's not fucking Alexis McAllister. Good stuff. Because I was very worried about that Alexis McAllister link to Real Madrid until we found out there was no release clause. Then I became a lot more calm. So what I'm going to do in the next few minutes is what I always do. Run through all the news from top to bottom. And then we'll go into questions and answers for the last 10 or 15 minutes of tonight's stream. So again, a couple of things. Do drop a like if you haven't done so. Please do subscribe. And of course, don't forget, we're down to a handful of tickets for Liverpool for the live show. But there's a good few there for Cardiff if you'd like to come along to that one. Right. Sorry, I've a bit of a cramp in my leg. Right, I'm going to go through and run through the news from top to bottom for you. For those of you who came in late and may not have seen. But before I do, I just have to stretch. Sorry. Still getting used to this new chair and my hip's a little bit sore. Right, here we go. Anfield Agenda News Roundup. First story I came across today and that I was talking about was Rodrigo. According to reports in Spain from Sport, which is the outlet, Liverpool are still in the running to sign Rodrigo from Real Madrid. They say that Liverpool have been credited with an interest in recent weeks, yada yada. Piece goes on to talk about a suggestion that Liverpool would have made a £100 million offer to sign Rodrigo had the player requested to leave Madrid. So this piece is saying that the reason Liverpool haven't bid £100 million is because Rodrigo said he wants to stay at Madrid, and they intimate that if he showed any willingness to leave, Liverpool would be ready with a £100 million offer. However, the piece goes on to say that Real Madrid would want €150 million, or about £127 million, to sanction the sale, and that doesn't sound very much like Liverpool to me, nor do I think we need to spend that much money, as much as I do like Rodrigo. Then the next piece was from the Telegraph, and not the Telegraph in the UK, over in the Netherlands, the DE Telegraph. They say Liverpool are reportedly interested in signing Feyenoord goalkeeper Justin Biglo. According to the Telegraph, he's increasingly likely to join a Premier League club this summer. Now, on the face of it, you think, backup goalkeeper, if Kelleher leaves, perhaps. But look at his injury record. Because I was excited till somebody sent me his injury record. And I've very rarely ever seen a goalkeeper who's had that many injuries. So it worries me. And for that reason, I'd be very dubious about bringing him in. I'd personally prefer to just promote Yaros. That's my take on it. But, of course, we'd really love to know what you guys think. But do check out his injury record if you get a chance. Then came the kind of big exciting news of the day, where CM Jornal, a Portuguese outlet, posted to say Liverpool have identified Benfica defensive midfielder Joao Neves as a priority target. It is expected that Liverpool will come forward in the coming days with a proposal for the Portuguese player. So I kind of took that with a pinch of salt, but as the day went on and we started to see more and more stuff about it, one article said that, Liverpool star endorses the hijack of Manchester United deal with bid in the coming week. Now, one of my favourite words during transfer season is hijack. I love getting into thumbnails. I love using it. I love just the idea of coming in and getting a player from another team who want to sign them. So this piece says, Liverpool have joined the battle to sign Joao Neves and it's heating up. Diogo Jota praising the player. They then went on to speak a little bit about the offer that Manchester United had rejected, which was just over 50 million quid. And they said it would take an offer closer to 100 million maybe for them to do business. Doesn't stop Liverpool's interest though, and they go on to say that they expect an offer to come in from Liverpool in the coming days, which is a big shout, because it's one thing saying Liverpool are monitoring, looking at, interested in, but they go as far as to say that Benfica are expecting an offer from Liverpool in the coming days. So let's wait and see how that one weighs out. But then we've got Ian Doyle doing the journal shuttlebook. And this is my big pet peeve of this transfer season. A new defensive midfielder, while not completely off the table for Liverpool and Richard Hughes, is not seen as a priority or an absolute priority in the forthcoming transfer window. Which one is it? We need one and we're tracking one, or we don't. We can all sit on the fence, but you're supposed to be the journalists that are supposed to tell us who we are interested in. So more conjecture from journalists rather than actual information. The next piece though was the one that a lot of people would like the sound of. They say that Liverpool are one of several clubs interested in signing Jeremy Frimpong from Bayer Leverkusen this summer. That's according to Sport Bild in Germany. I believe they're a tabloid, although I'm not, up on German media as much as other people. They go on to say Arsenal, United and Barcelona have also all been linked with the defender, who has a release clause of €40 million or £33.7 million, though no talks have progressed involving any interested party. For me, for that to make any sense, the worst case scenario of Trent leaving would have to happen. And I don't want that to happen, so for that reason I hope this isn't true. Now, is there a world where we sign him and I'm happy? Of course. If Trent stayed and Arne Slot said Trent is now a midfielder Frimpong and Bradley can battle it out on the right side, I mean, okay, yes please, I'd absolutely take that. But it would be a big surprise to me for that to be the case, because it would immediately signal that they're looking to block Bradley. And I don't think the club are. I think the club have every faith in Conor Bradley, as they should. And I expect that Conor Bradley will be either the first choice right back or will still be challenging Trent. Next story was a bit of a revisit, and it's from Ebola, another Portuguese outlet, who say Liverpool have been told the conditions to sign Gonçalo Inácio this summer. Yeah, really straightforwardly, pay the €60 million release clause. It's not rocket science here. They say Liverpool interest is not new, and refers to Amarin when he was first leaked to the Liverpool job. Now there was talk about Liverpool coming back in for Inácio. This one has not gone away over the last 6 months, but it's also not really intensified. So I don't know, basically, on him, if we were going to end up putting in an offer or not. This one, though, from Fabrizio Romano, is a direct quote from Ederson, the Atalanta midfielder. And he said, amidst Liverpool talks, "I'm happy at Atalanta. My focus is on Brazil now. I like Italy, but I'm also curious about the Premier League. The only possibility to leave is if Atalanta receive a proposal and then they decide. It's up to Atalanta." And he told that to Dario AS, who are another media outlet. So, hedging his bets, being respectful to the club he's at and the fans, but also saying, maybe I move to the Premier League at some point in the future, leaving that door open. My biggest surprise story of the day, has to come from the Mirror, who say Vincent Kompany reportedly wants to return to the Premier League and raid Liverpool for Joe Gomez. That's according to the Mirror, who are reporting that Vincent Kompany is eyeing up defensive reinforcements and he likes Gomez's versatility. Now, they do look at a centre-back this summer, Bayern. They've been talking about Jonathan Tah. Leverkusen want him to sign a new deal. And then they spoke, if they couldn't get Jonathan Tah, about Levi Colwill. And that's where we had the whole story yesterday, where I said to you guys, if Colwill's available, I hope Liverpool are in that conversation, because I really like Levi Colwill. He's homegrown, he's young, and I think he'd be a great addition to our defence. But I'd be intrigued to see if they do come in for Gomez, because I'd love to know what they value him at. I don't want to sell Gomez. I think, like I've said many times, Joe Gomez has been a really important part of why we were able to compete this season. He's filled in so well, and I don't want him going anywhere. But let's wait and see if there's an offer comes in, what that offer would be, because I've no idea how to value Joe Gomez. Another one from Florian Plettenberg said, the rumours have been going around for a long time, and now there's a report that Jurgen Klopp will become the new football boss of Red Bull. His agent, Mark Kosica, has told me, total nonsense, there's nothing to it. So, there you go. I think that would be a great move for Klopp in the long term. But no doubt my favourite story of the day is the one where Allison rejected a massive offer to go to Saudi because he wants to stay at Liverpool Football Club and he loves it here, and they've gone in for Wojciech Szczesny instead. Talk that Szczesny could be getting as much as 250 grand a week, but our goalkeeper wants to stay with us, and that's exactly as it should be. So that's kind of where we're at with the latest news. Would love to know your thoughts on it. Let me know in the comment section. Drop a like and, of course, hit that subscribe button. There was another few bits and pieces saying that we're interested in signing Matthias de Ligt, but I don't know. Would Liverpool really want to reunite Virgil with his international centre-back partner? The wages will be my biggest concern there. Yeah. So this actually on Szczesny now says, there are now reports that Wojciech Szczesny's move to Al Nassr could be in danger. Szczesny to Al Nassr currently on standby, according to Fabrizio Romano. So there we are with all the latest news. So over to you guys and let me know what you think. We're 55 likes away from 600 as well, so don't forget to hit the like button. Right, what have we got? It feels annoying for me that all the journalists, as we said, seem to tell us which players we're not after, but need to tell us who we are after. Do you know why? I'll tell you why, Harry. Because it's very easy for a journalist, or me, or anybody else to say, yeah, I'd heard that we're interested in a player, But I didn't want to break the club's confidence. And if they can say that there's no immediate interest and then we end up signing him, he can go back and go, well, I did tell you there was interest there, but, you know, we needed to be respectful. It's called hedging your bets, mate, and covering your arse. And you're right. I said it all night. It'd be lovely for a journalist to actually tell us who the hell we are interested in, rather than we sort of like this guy, but he's not a priority. And the club are briefing that X isn't a priority and Y isn't a priority, but who is a priority? That would be nice. First journalist to come out and do that will be interested. Joshua, thank you for the super sticker, mate. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Boxer said, love the streams, love your passion, love you not pulling your punches. So I try to be respectful but straight talking. Like, I'll call out FSG and I'll call out John W. Henry, or I'll call out a player, but I won't disrespect their personal lives and I won't disrespect them as people. That's the thing that that's my line in the sand. I will absolutely criticise somebody from a footballing perspective, but no other reason. Other words, I'm an asshole if I do that. Do you know what though? Somebody said the other day in one of the comments on one of the videos, I think it was that poll actually, of who's your favourite fan reactions this year from a Liverpool content. And by the way, we're winning that poll, so thank you. But one of the comments underneath was, that Anfield Agenda lad doesn't support Liverpool. He doesn't wear any Liverpool jerseys. And he doesn't go to the games, so he's clearly not a Liverpool fan. And I thought, I don't go to the games because, one, I live in Ireland. Two, this is my business. And the reason I don't wear Liverpool jerseys are, and I've said this many times, I don't like the Nike Liverpool stuff. Go back and look 2 years ago or 3 years ago when we were New Balance, and you'll see me decked out in Liverpool stuff. And when Adidas come back, you'll see me decked out in Liverpool stuff. But I don't like the Nike stuff. I don't like the price point at which they're selling jerseys for these days. And I really don't like the price point at which they've upped the youth jerseys by a stupid amount. So that's why you don't see me wearing Liverpool stuff. It's got nothing to do with me not loving the club. It's to do with me being a 42-year-old man who is fat, doesn't look great in a jersey, and also isn't a big fan of Nike. Other than their trainers. But Liverpool stuff, no. How is Neves defensively? Would he only work in a double pivot? Trey, I have no idea, mate. I don't know how good this kid is. I haven't watched much of him at Benfica, mate. So probably somebody in the chat can give you a better response than me. But we'll get to see him in the Euros. He is part of the Portugal squad, so we'll get to see how he works out. So, 15 minutes to go. No more news from me. Now it's over to you. Put in your comments or questions or anything that you'd like me to answer or discuss, and we'll spend the last 15 minutes as always just having a bit of fun going back and forth. Before you do, my last pitch, tickets, really Cardiff. I actually need to get my finger out for Cardiff and push Cardiff. So if you're interested in coming along, there are plenty of tickets left for Cardiff, but it's going to be the show that I would personally go to because I know what we have in store for Cardiff. So for me, if you can come along and you're in between the two, maybe I think do we go to Liverpool, do we go to Cardiff, I'd edge to Cardiff. The Liverpool show is going to be amazing as well, but most importantly, 15 quid is the ticket price. And for Cardiff, you can get a group ticket for 4 people for just 50 quid. So £12.50 a ticket if you'd like to come along. In Cardiff, you're going to get to meet me, Ben, Connor, Chris Stonage, my son Lucas, and all of our wives and partners as well. They're all going to be at the event. So yeah, really love to see you guys over there. And yeah, thank you for everyone. We're really close to selling out in Liverpool, and I can't believe it. I thought we'd get a massive fuck you from Liverpool based off me being told for 7 years that Scousers hate me. So to see us doing so well there, I'm really grateful to everybody who's coming to support. So thank you. Neves isn't a destroyer, and neither is Ederson. That's why the ideal solution is either Fofana or Ugarte. Those are the proper destroyers. But do we need a destroyer? Like, if we're playing in our current system, I would say yes. But if we're playing in a double pivot, I don't know, not as much for me. You know, you want someone to win the ball back and then give it to the forward-looking part of the double pivot for me. But I can't tell you what Neves is or isn't because I haven't watched enough of him. So I'm not going to correct you on that one. Is Arne Slot going to make a surprise appearance at one of your shows? No, but you're welcome, Arne. You know, let me extend that invitation. If you want to come along, sir, you're more than welcome. Craig, have I been to a Brazilian restaurant? I was at one last night and ate more than a starving lion. Oh, yes. I've been to a couple of Brazilian and Argentinian steakhouses, and yes, very nice. Will there be any Euros watch-alongs? Absolutely. We're going to try and do the Euros with a Liverpool twist. So when Liverpool players are involved, we're going to cover the games. So, for instance, Scotland, Andy Robertson. So we're doing Germany, Scotland on Friday, 7:30. What else we got? Who does Ugarte play for? PSG, but he is available this summer. He's not really settled in too well and hasn't been getting much game time, so there's been lots of publications to say that he is available this summer. Copa America winner. I'm going to say it's either Argentina or Uruguay. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to say Argentina. Granted, they're the World Cup winners, but I think Uruguay could be not a surprise package, but I think they're well equipped to go deep in the tournament. So I say Argentina or Uruguay. At this rate, Craig, you might as well give us the first press conference as Arne Slot. Sure, I don't have a great Dutch accent though. Don't forget to play our Where's Arne Slot game over on TikTok. So check out the Anfield Agenda TikTok. Ben has made a little fun game to see how quickly you can find Arne Slot in amongst about 100 of my head. There's one Arne Slot in this image, and the link at the top of the chat also gives you the tickets, but also all of our social media. So go across, check out our TikTok and see how quickly you can find Arne Slot in amongst loads of Craigs. Argentina only won the World Cup as it was fixed. Well, I don't think it was fixed, but I also am going to apologise for the fact that I love that Messi won the World Cup. Did they get some favourable calls? Yeah, probably, but what a final. Like, can we talk about that? What a final. That is, of my lifetime, the best World Cup final I've ever seen. You know, imagine being Kylian Mbappe, scoring a hat-trick in a World Cup final and not winning it. That's mental. But that was an incredible final, and I won't lie, I was so happy to see Messi lift the World Cup. Craig, is your ideal signing closer to Fabinho or Gini? It's a great question. Fabinho. I think we've got a lot of ball carriers and ball players. And by the way, there was a comment that somebody said, Craig, what about Dominic Szoboszlai as a Salah replacement on the right? It's absolutely possible. He played right side midfield at Leipzig. But I'm more concerned that he just gets his fitness levels up and doesn't look as exhausted as he has sometimes this season. So, yeah, I'm intrigued to see how Dom gets on this year, but I'm expecting a lot from him because he's a great player. There's now more than 90% possibility that Erik ten Hag will sign a contract extension at Manchester United. Oh, God. He's only got 1 year to go in his deal, by the way, so interesting one. Tobin, I've just spent 10 minutes going through all the news again, bro, so I can't repeat it. We're in the part of the stream now where we just have a bit of fun and take questions. Am I able to show us your socks today? Absolutely not, dude. One, I've got a cramp in my hip from the new chair I'm sitting in. I'm still getting my ass groove in. And two, that didn't work out too well the last time. Stephen said, United sticking with Ten Hag because nobody else wants to go. I agree. And I find it all very funny, but let's wait and see. However we sign a midfield, if we have access in multiple competitions... Excuse me, I'm going to repeat that because I'm ruining your question or your statement. So From the Cove said, however we sign a midfield, if we have success in multiple competitions next year, it'll be largely because of Endo's quality playing at any level. Agreed. You know, Endo is a valued member of our squad, and I think we should keep him, but I can't lie and say I don't think we could improve. I do. But I also love Endo and want him around. Craig can't stand up. He does streams naked from the waist down. So somebody said the other day, I had a wet dream about you the other night. Not to me. I heard this conversation with two lads saying, I had a wet dream about you the other night. You got knocked over by a truck and I pissed myself laughing. And that's my sense of humour right there. So give me some jokes. For the last 8 minutes, tell me some jokes. Because I need some jokes. I need some one-liners for the live shows as well. So give me some jokes. Okay, I'll break the ice. I know someone's going to say United. So let's get past that one. Sell Salah and get Rafael Leao. I like Rafael Leao. Obviously, he plays more left side, but I do like him. I just don't think it's realistic. See, Ten Hag and 7-0. I knew the United ones would be the first jokes. Well in. Chelsea, George for the jokes. No, seriously, give us a few jokes, somebody. I've no jokes. Honestly, I've none. Chuck Norris could slam through revolving doors. Sign Ashley Barnes. So Will's lost his mind. Maybe that's your joke, Will. I don't know, but it's a no from me. Someone threw cheese at somebody and said that wasn't very mature. That's the red machine joke there. What do I think of Joao Felix in the number 10 role? I think Joao Felix is a great player, but he's had a weird old career. You know, I still don't understand the move to Atletico Madrid from Benfica, but yeah, there's something about that kid that just doesn't make me feel like he always tries 100%. You know, when you see him smirking coming off for Chelsea when it's not going well and all, that didn't look great. David said, here's a good joke. Sell Trent and buy Frimpong as our new right back. We're only 9 likes short of 600, my friends, so do please hit that like button. And again, if you haven't subscribed, don't forget to do that. What do I think of Dybala? I think he bangs the Spurs. I think if you can get him for £10 million, if I was Spurs, I'd take the risk, but not for us. And there is a clause apparently in his contract at Roma that means he can be gotten for 10 million quid or 12 million euro this summer, and it bangs the Spurs all day long to me. I got a joke for you, Craig. Old toilet is falling down and Sir Jim is a Chelsea fan. There you go. It definitely is falling down. And the whole Radcliffe thing I found funny, mate, because he was brought in and loads of people were talking about him as the Messiah. And all he's done so far is cut corners, as in save money. You know, cut away the perks for people. Hammer down on the staff. It just feels weird. Why did George Michael have chocolate all around his mouth? Because he was careless with his whisper. Brilliant. I love it. There you go. See, that's a good joke. What's the difference between a leaky roof and Man United? The roof doesn't lose 7-0. Or 4-0 to Crystal Palace. Do you think Nkunku will show good numbers next season? Yes, I do. But if I'm Chelsea, I'm worried about the day that PSG decide they want them back, because he's openly said that Paris is the club of his heart. So what do you call a blind dinosaur? Here's one of mine. What do you call a blind dinosaur? Jitinkisaurus. I'll get my coat. Ori Connor Bradley, is it even possible to be too excited about how he's playing now? No. To be fair, I won't say I warned about, but I sung the praises of Connor Bradley going back at least a year. He is incredible, and I'm delighted for him. I'm delighted he seized this opportunity, And I'm really excited, like yourself, to see what happens in his future, because he's a great player. What's the difference between, or excuse me, what's the similarity between Manchester United and a 3-pin plug? They're both useless in Europe. Spot on, my friend. Spot on. Mohamed, spot on. They are indeed. How did they manage to finish bottom of that group, by the way, in the Champions League, bro? That is mental. Imagine if we could have somebody like Coutinho playing in Slott's number 10 position. Yeah, Fabio Carvalho. I mean, tell me Carvalho doesn't remind you of Coutinho. Might not be at that level, but he's got those vibes, right? And of course, we've got Harvey Elliott as well, and McAllister. What do I think of Trashford and Trashmas? Okay, so they're your words, not mine. What do I think of Rashford? Sorry, I nearly vomited there talking about United. What do I think of Rashford? If I was a United fan, I'd be very, very annoyed. Because he had a great season, signed a new contract, and for whatever reason, has been really poor the last campaign. But here's what I don't like. The cry arson. So, people are too quick these days to label criticism as hate. Now, I'm absolutely sure that Marcus Rashford, like Darwin Núñez and many other footballers, receive actual hate. Disgusting messages, racist shit, horrible stuff. But people saying you're playing crap is an opinion. So, sometimes I think people just need to be a bit more well-rounded. So Rashford, if I was a United fan, I'd be really disappointed in what I've seen. Rasmus Højlund, I actually think he'd be a really good player. I think United overpaid for him, but I think over the course of time, he'll prove to be a good bit of business. Looks like he'll work really hard. And there's a lot about him. I like Højlund. Is that joke from Jurassic Park? I don't think so. Although, I couldn't say for definite. I've only seen Jurassic Park once, so I don't remember. Rashford is a kind of good human being, but his football is not the level it should be. He's a wonderful human being. And what he did for hungry kids and disenfranchised kids, the man's a legend for that. Every single thing he did regarding that is nothing but love. But you should be able to be criticised for having a poor season and accept that it's valid criticism. A football player's favourite tea. Penalty. Ba-da-bum. Right, ladies and gents. I'm going to call that one a night. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 8:30. Same time, same place. Again, thank you for joining me. Do hit that subscribe button before you head off. And appreciate your support as always.